Alright class, so today I would like to go over how to create a basic button in the program Animate. So what is a button? Let me give you an example. Alright, so here we are on our animation illustration Google Classroom page, and there are many buttons on this page that you can interact with. So for instance, when I scroll over, or roll over I should say, some of the options on the top, like the word animation illustration, you can see that a little line pops up and the color changes. When I roll over these words, kind of highlights it with a grayish tone rectangular box around it, right? When I click on it, it actually changes and goes to the next page, but then it also kind of creates this little tab, this blue tab line that comes across the middle, right? And then even like these buttons here, when I roll over them, they create like little shadows casting around them. And when I click on them, obviously a new page will pop up. And that's the whole idea of a button. And or if you're creating like an interactive illustration, it might, and let's say this was about animation illustration. When you roll on this, it's like learn more about animation. When you click on it, maybe a page comes up with more information about whatever the topic was. So buttons are important in all different types of interactive animations. So how would you create one in Animate? First, I'm going to teach you how to create it in Animate. Then I'm going to teach you how to create a button in Illustrator and bring those objects into Animate and work from that. Okay, you can also do that with Photoshop too, but first we're just going to start with the basics. So I'm going to do File New, and I'm going to create an HTML5 canvas. I'm going to keep it the dimension that they give us, and then I'm going to hit OK. So the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out what you want your button to look like. So let's say that I wanted my button to look like this. Okay. Then maybe when you roll over it, I want it to be smaller. And then maybe when you click on it, I wanted to change color. So it's pretty simple. Okay, so let's say my animation was going to go from the button was going to look like this to start. When you roll over, it's going to get smaller, and when I click on it, it's going to turn green. So how would you do that? Well, you're going to start off with your first button, okay, or the initial button image, okay. So let's say this would be step one, right? Before you start making the button, you need to convert it to a symbol. So I'm going to go to Modify, Convert, and you want to make sure it's not on a movie clip or graphic. You want to make sure your type is a button so that it sets it up perfectly for you. You're going to hit OK, and I'm going to double click on the shape, the symbol now, and you can see it has specific sections for your button. So it's up, over, down, and hit. So we're going to disregard hit for now. We're just going to work with up, over, and down. All right. I'm also going to name this. It's important to keep yourself organized. You might have multiple buttons in your animation. So I'm going to call this button 1. Right. When you really start working, you can name it specific things, right? So that's button 1. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on over. So this is rolling over. And I'm going to insert a keyframe. And then I'm going to take it, because I said I was going to scale it down. So now I'm going to scale it down, and that will be my rollover. Then I'm going to select down and insert a keyframe. And I'm going to go to my, select it, make sure my properties, change the color of it to, let's say, green. Okay, like I said. So now my button is going to go, would be its stationary position. When I roll over, it'll be smaller, and when I click on it, it will turn green. So this can work simultaneously with an animation. So you can have an animation going with still buttons within that page that when you hit will bring you to another page or open up something else on that page. So now if I go to test it, okay, I'm going to go to control. And you can do this with your animations too. I'm going to hit test. So when I go to test, it's going to open it up. When I roll over it, it becomes smaller, right? When I click on it, it turns green, right? So that would be my button. So when you look at images like this, when I go to stream or click on my class settings, you can see that's exactly how these designers created this website. All right, and that's it. I hope you learned a lot from this, and I'll see you next video.